Thanks for joining, guys. You may have caught my live stream unboxing and first reactions, but now I've fully put the cab together and I'm going to do a complete review. Stay tuned. Alright, let's start with the cab design itself. So first off, we have a brand new cab design, completely original from an Arcade1Up. It's the shape of the stand-up arcade put in a sit-down version. So we have beautiful side art here, the nice sloped control panel here, a different shaped kind of front area with the recessed marquee, and then the actual monitor itself is tilted more towards you than it is with the Star Wars and some of the other monitors that you see next to here. And this is the bench version. So we have the steering wheel here. I'll go completely into the wheel and the pedals, and then this is the bench. So this is what everything looks like completely. This is the bench compared to the Star Wars one right next to it. You can see that this is actually a little bit lower than the Star Wars bench. So that's just a quick overview of the cab. Everything on the back is just the same as your standard cab on the back side, plugging into a 12-volt adapter. But on the front side, we have clearance and an open space for you to put your pedals inside. Pretty cool. So here is a side-by-side comparison of the OutRun bench compared to the Star Wars bench. So first off, the shape of the benches are actually different, and the way that this is seated is about 3 inches lower than the Star Wars bench. So that's the first thing, that the shapes are similar but not the exact same bench. So it is a little bit different in terms of design. You have the kind of angled version for the Star Wars with the design on the back, and then the design on the back of the OutRun cab is just that rounded back edge. The next big difference you'll see is the actual leather seats themselves. So this imitation leather seat from the OutRun cab is way stretchy leather. It's like a leather pleather, stretchy, kind of soft. It definitely feels soft to the touch, but it's very thin. I sat on this a few times and you can see I've already dented it, and it's already kind of going down to the bottom of the board. So this is just me sitting on it less than a day. The thicker Star Wars leather, it definitely doesn't stretch as much and has a little bit more padding inside of it. So I've sat on this way more times, so that's a little bit more secure. So thumbs up to the Star Wars bench. You can see even the quality of the fake leather here compared to this a little bit more of a elastically pleather feel. So those are the benches and the differences. Now let's take a look at the control deck itself with the wheel and the shifter. So here's the close-up of the wheel itself. You can see it has a nice kind of rubbery leather feel to it. So it's a very solid wheel, good plastic around, and when you turn it, there is a nice weighted feel going back to center. So there is no force feedback, but it does have a nice centered wheel that does spring back, and the potentiometers read very well. I'll show you about how that reads. In terms of clearance wise, there's about almost 2 inches from the side of the board, so you definitely have enough room to grip it without worrying of touching anything. So the spacing is good there. You have your off and on switch, your volume switch here, a start and a key ignition button there, 3 buttons on the top for the music change buttons, a shifter, and then the turbo button. So the shifter itself is a new piece as well. So this is it looks very plasticky on the bottom side here, so it's that shiny plastic. This is a little bit more thicker plastic, but itself it is a kind of a cheaper quality type of plastic that I would say. I was hoping for something feeling a little bit more solid, but overall it functions just like it should during gameplay. This is your low setting, this is your high setting. It springs back to center. This is not an analog signal, so this is just a micro switch when you press it up and a micro switch when you press it down, and that's it. But this is the steering wheel, and the deck overall feels really solid for a dedicated racing wheel. This is probably the only piece that I'm a little bit worried about in terms of longevity, but overall very solid build. Excited that they actually even put this into a cab. And look at this artwork here. So you actually have a flat section on top of the control panel with the recessed monitor then having it up. So that's brand new too. So that's the control deck. So let's move to the bottom of the cab where we start seeing some of the artwork for the different games that are included in this whole recessed area, which is brand new to an Arcade1Up in the racing cab, where you have the pedals here kind of recessed into here where it sits, but you could also place them inside this bottom area if you want them recessed further. There isn't a way to lock them down, but you can put them in here if you want some more feet clearance space. But take a look at the pedals themselves. So here's the pedal design. You have a flat board on the back, kind of an elongated accelerator, and then a brake shift on that side as well. So it's just 2 pedals. This is all plastic design here. So even the brake here, even though it's silver, this is actually just painted silver. This isn't actually a metal part. The good news, first off, the spring tension pressing down on the both pedals is really good. So there's really good sensitivity pressing both of these down. So I like the feel of these when you press them. There's good enough tension for when you press it to, you know, spring back into place. The only downsides I will say is just the thinness of the plastic. Look how thin the plastic is for this pedal, and even when you're pressing it, you can even start to see it bend a little bit. If I'm holding it here, you can see it bending slightly. So I always worry about something breaking on these things and lasting a long time with your investment. Even the side-to-side motion of this plastic, you know, also is dangerous in case you have this out and say you tripped on this. If you caught this top area and tripped, it might be prone to break. Same thing with this side as well. So, you know, maybe this one feels more solid. I have some more concerns about this accelerator button if you go really hard on it. I'm wearing socks right now, so I recommend, you know, not going really hard on these, but pressing it down does feel good. It springs back into place very well for both of the accelerator, the gas pedal, and the brake pedal. So these feel really solid pressing it in, and the gameplay is actually really good with it. So those are definitely both positives for having a analog pedal and brake set here that works. So those are the pedals and the overview. Let's talk about how everything hooks up when it plays. So the back of the cab uses the same MDF backside, but you'll notice that the plug is actually in the middle instead of at the bottom normally. And why is that? Well, when you pull this off, you'll see that when you actually build the cab itself, they provide this board here to cover the bottom section. So when you can recess your feet in there, it's actually completely covered, and so this board is protecting that bottom area as well. So there's a hole in here. This is from the pedals, and this is going to connect into the control panel itself. It's actually just a 3.5mm audio jack that you would see, and then this is what plugs into the control panel itself, and the control panel has the PCB wire that goes directly into the stock PCB here. And so some other key differences here, this PCB, if you can notice it, it's actually much thicker than the normal ones that you've seen. So they actually have some more hardware on the inside. I'll pop it open in a second, but if you also hear it, there is a fan inside. So you can actually hear it going off pretty well while you're playing and just leaving it idle. So the fan is going on from the inside. If I'm touching it, it definitely feels hotter than the other PCBs that have been running it. So there's definitely some bigger and harder hardware that's going on in here. You can see the extra weight that they put to this cable to make sure it stays down as well. But those are some of the neat things here. There's also a micro USB cable port that's right underneath this power area, which is said to be using something for the Easter egg for this cab. I've not found out what it is yet, but maybe somebody will find it and post it up later on. But I haven't found anything. I do have future plans to mod this. So let's take a look at the PCB itself. Alright, so this is the PCB itself. So you can see in there that there is a new fan that's mounted here or directly with the heatsink. So this PC is definitely more powerful than anything we've seen in any Arcade1Up before. It has a standard VS display adapter and some power connectors here, the off and on switch that you saw, and there is a micro USB port right there underneath. And again, you know, this could be for future patches, potentially adding some things. So we haven't cracked the code yet exactly what this is going to do, but we can find out. I'm sure there's lots of other talented people out there that are going to figure it out. I'm probably going to end up modding this anyways, but this is the look inside the PCB. Some folks might have been interested in terms of the monitor itself. It looks like it's using a regular Gen 3 monitor, so the same ones you've seen on TMNT, Star Wars, some of the newer cabs as well. So that's the monitor that they're using, so everything looks good from the inside. Same marquee, same audio plugs, and that's pretty much it for the backside. Alright, let's turn it on for the first time so you can see as it powers on with the on switch. The millet marquee is beautiful, very even color. The stock Arcade1Ups I think are the best light up marquees because they don't have a border or anything. Perfect lighting all the way around. They actually feel really, really good. Art is really evenly printed. Just no Sega logos anywhere on the cab itself. So did confirm that, you know, Sega can't have their product logo on things that they don't make, but it is licensed by Sega. So this is the main menu in here. So first off, you have a volume selection here. So you can turn on your volume off and on. Moving the selection of the menu just moves the wheel to the left or to the right. You have your 4 games, OutRun, Turbo OutRun, OutRunners, and Power Drift. To get into the menu settings, you just shift down, and then you can go into the menu settings for these. So let's just check out one of the menu settings really quickly for OutRun. So when you go into the OutRun menu settings, you can change the demo sounds, the time adjustment, the difficulty, a show gear indicator, adding scan lines, which is a really nice touch in the games for people that like it, resetting high scores, and saving and exit. So all the different settings for the games are very similar. So you'll have that kind of adjustment of difficulty, some time adjustments as well. But pretty much everything looks very, very similar, whether you want to use a turbo shifter or not, turning off scan lines, showing gear indicators. So those are the settings for all 4 games. And that's pretty much it. And then when you want to run into a game, let's just select a game. For OutRun, you're going to press the gas pedal to select it. So I have to press down on my gas pedal. It's going to give you some control options of what to do, or at least a screen of how everything works on your pedals. And then you press your pedal to continue. Let's play a game. Alright, so I'm going to do a top-down angle as well as a side angle for the games that you can see. So you can select your games, press start, and then you can just start driving. So when you press the gas, it actually feels very sensitive when you're pressing it. So the wheel itself, feels really good also turning it left to right. There's a nice weighted feeling to it, even though there's no force feedback. It's very sensitive, so really perfect to control. I'm in the low setting right now, so now I switch this to the high mode. So the shifting works perfectly as it should with these games, and the analog settings are set perfectly. I mean, there's some really smooth controlling motion here. When I go side to side, let's see if I can drift. There it is. Control. Oh, I hit that cab. All right, so maybe I'm just not a good driver. Switch back to low so I can speed up. And go back to high. The really nice thing about the pedals I was mentioning, so you can push on the pedal slightly, and it'll register kind of as a slight push on the accelerator, just like you would in a real car. So that's a really nice touch. It's not just a button where you press on it and you go full speed. So the gameplay is actually really smooth. The emulation feels really great. So I like it. Playing this with the wheel feels really nice. The rubber handles are really nice, and I get the spring on the pedal feels nice when you're pressing it. So if I'm playing the game, I'm not even noticing the plasticness of it, but besides that, gameplay is running really, really well. Great music selection. Sounds really good for me for right now. So when you end your game, if you want to go back to your main menu, just hold the start button, and then it'll take you back to your main menu for 5 seconds, and then it'll go back to the main menu. Then you can pick your next game. So we're gonna jump into Turbo OutRun. All right, so this is Turbo OutRun here. So we're gonna push our start button here. We can check. I like running, since these games are very simple to manual, just pretty much going high-low. We can play the manual buttons. So let's ride Turbo OutRun. Here we go. There we go. So we're pressing. We got our gas speedometer right there. And again, very sensitive. If I'm pressing the brake pedal, I can do that too. So you can see kind of on the side view the pictures of how I'm seated. So if you're playing the game, it's not the most natural feeling, but once I sat on the bench properly, it feels okay. Where the pedals are seated, I have enough clearance now for my legs, and I'm really just using my one foot to press on the pedal, and I can kind of like move my legs to the side a little bit. So if I have my arms outstretched and I'm leaning a little bit forward, I was more comfortable than I thought I would be originally. When I did my unboxing video, you may have seen me with my knees directly butt up against the steering wheel. 2 reasons for that. One, I was sitting on the Star Wars bench, and that bench is higher, and then 2, my bench was too close to the front, and so you just have to adjust the bench to a comfortable seating position, and then you will be able to stretch your feet out comfortably to press this, and then also still reach the pedals and the steering wheel. So I feel very comfortable playing with this right now. I actually even have a camera in front of me, but I'm reaching the pedals fine. I'm moving the wheel just fine. There's really good sensitivity. So for folks that were concerned about how big you can be sitting down on it, I'm a 5'10", 175-pound guy, so medium build, if you will. But I feel okay playing this. It might work better for smaller kids and folks. But maybe the stand-up one is going to be better for the majority of folks. But for me, I still like the sit-down feeling of it. I'm going to be doing some more mods to see if I can either raise this whole thing up or drop the seat down. But that's kind of like me sitting in the control, or sitting in the cockpit, if you will, feeling pretty okay. Alright, we're going to do some OutRunners gameplay now. So pretty much the settings are the same. This is one of the games where you can actually press the music button and have it change on you. So this is OutRunners, and this is a start key ignition button. And here, we actually get to pick different cars. So let's do this yellow car. We're gonna do 6-speed manual transmission. So the different cars have various transmissions, and this is gonna be shifting to different ones. So let's go. We're gonna start in 1. We're gonna shift to 2, shift to 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Oh wow, but I didn't make it to 6. I crashed. So let's shift up. That's pretty cool. So you can have your shifter to go to the different areas. So this is OutRunners. Let's change the music. Yes. Mega radio station. Picture the rivers. Blow your cool. Let's blow your cool. This sounds pretty good. Let's get into 6th gear. Whoa. Okay, that was a lot better. All right. This is actually pretty fun. Out of all the games so far, like OutRunners, like has the most car options and the most kind of speed options. So this is actually my favorite game so far out of the 4. So we'll try Power Drifters in just a second, but you can see the graphics on this are really nice. You can see the 3D background-ish, you know, so that's probably one of the needs for the more powerful PCB in the gameplay. Feels really good. Really solid controls. Yeah, feeling good. I like being able to set to manual mode too, so that's really good. Cool. See how far I can get. Oh, alright, I'm crashing pretty hardcore. Switch back down. Alright, we're gonna exit out of this, and we're gonna try Power Drifters. So that's OutRunners gameplay. Alright, and this is Power Drift gameplay. So this one is almost like kind of I feel like this is more go-karty than racing, but it's kind of cool. You kind of have like these big heads and you're in these like big kind of go-karts. So you're in these kind of smaller stages. So pretty fun game, and when you turn, the screen of it moves way more dramatically than it does for any of the other games. So definitely offers you a different style of gameplay than the other racers on here. So this is a figure 8 track, and man, I really suck. So let's see if I can get back into gear here and drift, if you will, power drift. So this is really emphasis on the turning and not just doing hard turning, but you know, using your wheels sensitive as you can. Drop into the high gear setting and then see if I can start drifting. There we go. Now that starts feeling good. All right, I just passed somebody. Oh, I just wrecked. All right, I'm doing really bad. All right, maybe I'm just not used to this. It almost feels a little dizzy to me. I'm just not a good racer, not a good power drift racer. Yeah, there we go. Good, good, good. Oh, I'm crashing hardcore. Well, this is Power Drifters. I already lost. I'm only on my lap 3. In the first and second, third place have already gone. I'm just gonna call it quits. I was at 11th place. That was really bad. But that's Power Drift. Really fun game if you like the style. But I think OutRunners is my favorite game. So that's it for the gameplay. So in the instructions, it does give you a hint that if you do feel the wheel calibration off, if you hold down the start and music button while you turn on the cab, this is going to enter the calibration mode of the settings itself. So let's go ahead and just jump into here so you can see some of the calibration settings and see how sensitive this wheel is. So it says press start to calibration. And so now here you have the wheel, and you can move it all the way to the left. And the calibration mode says turn your wheel to the left physically, then press the start trigger. And now I'm going to move it to the right physically and press the start trigger so you can see the range of motion in here, and then move it back to the center and press start. So I just calibrated the steering wheel. This is a nice feature in case anything does feel like it's off. Now press your brake down physically and then press. So I'm going to press my brake all the way down to the bottom, press start, and then let it go, press start, and then I'm going to press my gas down to the bottom and then let it go. There we go. So this is the press start to calibrate the data. This is calibrating your pedals and your wheel. So this is really good range for your wheels and settings. So press start key to exit, and then it's going to boot up into your main menu. Another cool feature that I found out is if you hold down the start button and the turbo button and then turn on the on switch, this actually activates the test menu. So this wasn't in the instructions. I was just messing around and found out that you can go into a test menu. I was hoping to find some Easter eggs here, but first off, I didn't find anything that's out of the norm, but you go into a checksum. So I think this is more for diagnostic testing to see if anything is wrong with your cab. You really don't need to go into the test mode for anything. But first, it's going to do a quick check of your system. bottom and see if anything is wrong with it. So it says that 9 total passes and 0 fails. So I guess it shows you how many times you've turned on the cab and how many times it's failed. So once you get to this menu and then you press the start button, it's going to cycle through different colors to make sure the screen is working, no dead pixels. So we got red, a blue, a green, a black, and white. And then you're going to hear some really high-pitched sounds. So we got the left tune, the test tune, the test tune. So those are just the volume switches for everything. And then you have 2 options for the, press the A button to go to QA, QC mode, or hold the start button for 2 seconds to go to ENG mode. So let's go into the QA mode first so you can see what that is. So pressing the start button essentially is the A button. So you press it, and then here it's gonna ask you to press a button. So this is the start button, and this is actually just giving you a test to make sure it's hitting all the different areas. So if you feel like something's not working, this is a really good way to test. This is the brake pedal where I'm pressing down. It's trying to get to the bottom, go back to the top. This is the gas pedal to the bottom, all the way down, all the way up, pressing these 3 buttons, 1, 2, 3, turbo button, shift button up, shift button down, and then your volume switch is another button. So this is pretty much your input test. Key test success. So that's going into QA, QC mode. I'm gonna show you what that ENG mode is in just a second. All right, so we're back into the test menu and we're gonna hold down the start button for 2 seconds to go into ENG mode. So this is now just more like another input test mode where it's not testing it, but you can free test and move the range of your steering wheel, your pedal, and then your shifters as well. So I really like this because this demonstrates the sensitivity of this wheel. Look how sensitive this wheel is. I'm barely moving it and it's moving it to the left or the right. So there's no dead zone in the middle of the steering wheel. So I'm just barely moving it right now and it's already registering a little bit to the left or to the right. So that's really good that there's sensitivity here. Let's start moving it to the left. So if I move it to the left, and once I get to this end range right here, so this is moving it all the way to the left range. So I actually calibrated this earlier. So if I move it all the way to the left and move it all the way down, you can see this is where I'm stopping my wheel, and this is heading the edge here. And then all the way to the right, I'm moving it all the way down, and it's at this angle. So I'm telling you this because when I first turned this on and I tested this, the edge of this calibration actually stopped right here. When I had my steering wheel at a 90-degree kind of left angle, it was hitting the end of this. So if you wanted to calibrate your steering wheel and give it that extra full range, I guess calibrating it gives you that extra range from going from kind of this 90-degree angle down to another maybe 30 degrees down this way, another 45-degree angles all the way around there. So this is 90 degrees, this is another like what, 125, I can't do math, 135 degrees angle down that way, and then all the way to the edge here. So I added a little bit more range to my wheel by calibrating it. Again, before stock, when you do this, if you go into this mode, it's gonna stop about right here and hit the edge of the wall. That's really cool. For the brakes, again, I'm stepping on the brake and going all the way down to the bottom. So this is really cool that it's really super sensitive, and I'm barely pressing on the brakes here, and look at the sensitivity on this. It feels great. The springs are popping back up. So this makes me really excited about modding potentiality, that the analog settings for the pedals and the wheel are super awesome. Not to my surprise, the shifter is just a micro switch, so this is not an analog shifter. This just goes up and down. So this registers as an input up. This is resting, that's an input down, and these are your volume switches again, where you can plug your volume switches into buttons as well. So these are all your inputs. That's it. This is ENG mode. I just wanted to share this to show off the sensitivity settings because this is going to be exciting when I bust this open to mod. So let's go into final thoughts. So final thoughts. First off, I was super excited when Arcade1Up announced this, and I feel like I was one of the first people to order it because I was one of the first people to get it. I just happened to live in Southern California, close to the distribution center, so I was super lucky to get an early shipment, if you will, because I know that people are getting theirs this week. But first off, I love the cab design and the fact that they even did a racing cab. I've been obsessed with Star Wars mods, if you know me from my other videos, and I've been playing racing games on my Star Wars yoke forever, for months, and I felt like this was the best way to play. But now I have another option for a wheel here if I'm not going to do a full PC mod wheel. So again, I really love the fact that they even ventured into this. So pros, the beautiful cab design. From top to bottom, it's a beautiful looking cab. Having a brand new control panel. Kudos to the Arcade1Up team for putting together something that was unique and playable. In terms of the sit-down version of it, so you saw again the bench and me sitting in it from a 5'10" guy. It is a little bit tight, right, for me playing it, but again, You can move the bench back. You still feel a little bit like, pretty decent playing it. So compared to Star Wars, I really didn't see anybody complaining about sitting down with Star Wars. So I think just the idea of having pedals here makes it different. So I think it's really great that they did this. Only quality downsides, again, the pedals and the shifter are just a little bit too plasticky for me, and I worry about the longevity of it. So I know I've repeated that many times on my live stream and during this video as well, but that's the only thing. I just hope there's not a lot of tickets for people breaking their pedals, because it does feel plasticky. But other than that, the 4 cabs or the 4 games play well. You saw the gameplay. The sensitivity of the yoke is fantastic. There's no force feedback. I wouldn't have expected that to be there. And then my last little complaint is that John D made me start peeling this sticker on my live stream. So John D, you owe me a sticker. or if there's something else under here that I should be looking at, let me know. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the brand new folks that are subscribing to the channel. I just hit myself 1K subscription mark today. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please continue to watch, subscribe if you like more content. I'll be doing a 1K giveaway soon. I don't know what it's going to be, but for my 500 subs, I gave away free commission to mod somebody's Arcade1Up yoke. So stay tuned. I have some more tutorials coming up soon to mod your Star Wars using the Glenn's Retro Show yoke. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys.